Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Zenaton, and welcome to today's video for Legends of Runeterra. Today we're going to be doing a deck tech and looking at a deck that's been around for a bit. For pretty much the entire time this deck has been around, it's mostly been a meme. And I have a kind of a hot take, but I think the deck might be somewhat competitively viable now. More specifically for tournaments. And the deck I'm talking about is Sundisk Mono Shurima. I do legitimately think it is a somewhat viable deck to bring for a tournament where you can ban out an enemy deck. So I guess to that extent, it would also work well in gauntlets. Why? Well, we'll talk about that more when we look at the deck. So let's go take a look at the deck. Okay, so welcome to the deck. Now, first things first, I guess say that like I've been having a little bit of success with the deck. I've been able to gain about a little over 100, I want to say like 120 or so LP in Masters with the deck. That doesn't really mean much, but the fact that I'm able to gain LP and get more wins than losses in Masters makes me a little happy. I've gotten wins against things like Trundle Lysandra Control, Azir Aurelia, Dragons, meta decks, basically. Now, of course, quick note, our Ezreal Draven matchup, terrible. Just awful. You could put in, I can't remember the name of the card, so let's look for it real quick. Soothsayer, you could put in Soothsayer into the deck to give Sundisk Spell Shield, but I don't like Soothsayer. But yes, and the reason why Ezreal Draven is so bad of a matchup is because of Scorched Earth. So I guess in theory, any Noxus deck that plays Scorched Earth would be a bad matchup, but for now, there's only really Ezreal Draven in the meta that is a Noxus deck that plays Scorched Earth. So, compared to other Sundisk decks we've looked at in the past, first quick note, no Ascended's Rise. Some people say you have to play Ascended's Rise in Sundisk. I personally have never been a fan of this. I think Ascended's Rise asked too much of the deck. Basically, you needed a champion on board because you wanted to count down the Sundisk by 10 by leveling up the champion. Preferably, you even have 2 champions on the board. Little tough. Also, no Spirit Fire because this is a more aggressive, mid-rangey fight for the board kind of deck. We're not sitting back and trying to play control, so we don't play Spirit Fire, which, in all honesty, is just a decent card. As for another card that is not in here, but some people probably like to run, Rite of Calling. No Rite of Calling. I sometimes like Rite of Calling, but not for the current list I'm running. Also, no Preservarium as well. The card draw with Preservarium's nice, but just a little too slow. Also, no Hourglass. Again, too slow. The deck's idea is try to play aggressively, force your opponent to fight you in combat, and then you might even just win because of how aggressive you are, thanks to Renekton himself and Ruin Runner. While the Sundisk itself is kind of your late game plan if you can't win that way, specifically, of course, the Emperor's deck. So let's go through the deck itself, card by card, and talk about why certain cards are in the deck and what exactly they're doing and why they're a good match for this deck. So, first card up, we got what? Bakai Reaper? Just crazy good of a card. I don't think there's too much to talk about with this card here. We run all 3 because, again, we want to be a very early aggressive deck, trying to put on some pressure in the early game. And Bakai Reaper helps us do that. Lets us get some nice blocks as well, thanks to having more than 1 health, so we can actually block things like enemy sand soldiers and have it live. And the Fearsome lets it get in some nice chip damage too, and that chip damage kind of matters thanks to Renekton and Ruin Runner. 1 of Sundisk, not much to talk about there. It's a Sundisk deck. Don't want to play more than 1 because if you had to play a second Sundisk, you've probably already lost the game. 3 Dune Keepers. This card is just nuts as a 1-drop, similar to Bakai Reaper. Great on offense, great on defense. It's 2 units to help level up Azir quickly. Unlike Azir Aurelia, we actually have to work towards leveling up Azir. It's a little difficult for us compared to just a Blade Dance spamming deck. So Dune Keeper is really nice for that. Also, next card, Scrying Sands. Great combat trick, only running 2 of because it does blank a little bit. Compared to, say, like Elixir of Iron, we can't really use it to protect our units from combat tricks, so it's a little inflexible that way. Also, quick note with any of the predict cards we have here, basically Scrying Sands and Chronomancer, a cute thing you can do is to try and hold one predict for after you create the Emperor's deck to try to bring Ascendance Call to the top of the deck, because Ascendance Call always starts on the bottom of the deck when you create the Emperor's deck. I believe it's a 10-minute spell, summon a leveled up level 3 Renekton and a level 3 Nasus and Rally as well. And it's always, not almost, but it's always at the bottom of the deck, unless, of course, you predict it to the top, which that's a cute thing you can do. Also, I know it's not popular, but be careful of nab opponents. They might nab that card, and, well, that's no fun. Next card up, Shapestone, just a good combat trick. Gives a little health, which is fine. Combined with Renekton and Ruin Runner, lets you push in a lot of damage. +3/+1, that's a lot of damage coming through. This card is actually how you get lethal a lot of the time, surprise lethal. It also helps to level up Renekton really quickly as well. Overall, just a wonderful card. 2 Aspiring Chronomancers, mostly just here for the predict to help smooth out our early draws, find things like Renektons on 4, Merciless Hunters, maybe a Rite of Negation if we're against a deck that has a big spell we want to counter or something. Just a decent card in general. Very nice defensive body, so it actually means we won't automatically die against something like a Azir Aurelia who will Blade Dance a lot, so very nice card. Our other 2-drop, Clockwork Curator, 3 of them. Just helps you advance the Sun Disk very quickly, and it gives you a 2-mana 2/2, which is fine for the board. Not terrible, not amazing. Not much to talk about this card. 3 Azirs. Speaking more on just as on the champions themselves, 3 Azirs, 3 Renektons, no Nasus, no Zillion, no anything else. I've tried this deck out with Zillion before. I've tried the deck out with a 1 of Nasus. I just like triple Azir. The reason is you really want to get the Emperor's deck really quickly. Azir just getting on the board early-ish is nice. You don't really want to get him too early on the board, but around, like I said, like turn 5 or so, getting him on the board helps you put on a little bit of pressure when you're attacking him with Renekton as well. So it's very nice. Next up, 3 Hierophants. This is the guy you usually want to play on turn 3. This or Merciless Hunter. Very fat body, thick stats, lets you block a lot of stuff. The Hierophant advancing the Sun Disk is actually meaningful ever since he got buffed to advance it by 3 instead of 2. Unless that's a buff that I've made up in my mind. I'm pretty sure they buffed him to do that. But yeah, just a decent card. Not amazing. You could probably cut 1, but I want to always at least see 1 Hierophant in pretty much any matchup. And again, like I said, pretty good body for defense. Now speaking on offense, 3 Merciless Hunter. The new card on block, the new like non-champion that everyone is saying is OP and probably needs a nerf. I kind of slightly agree with that, but this card is just so good. Turn 3 Merciless Hunter, turn 4 Renekton is a crazy good curve. And it's just a good card on its own, plus fearsome. I don't think there's too much to talk about this card. It's great. Decent pseudo removal as well, so lovely card. Oh, this actually reminds me. Another card I forgot to mention that is not in the deck, but a lot of people like to play, Exhaust. I don't think we need Exhaust because we have Merciless Hunter and Bakai Sand Spinners to get vulnerable, and Exhaust being focus speed means we can't really use it as a combat trick. Sure, it's cheaper, but I have found that it's a little just too dead all the time, so I prefer instead the next card, Quicksand. 1 gets rid of Elusive against the Azir Aurelia deck. Helps with quick attacks against Aurelia herself. Just a very nice card. It's not as great as Hush. Can't really deal with Sparring Student that well, but it's still an okay card. So it's a nice 2 of. It's also decent defensively. Helps save you from just dying to a unit. Helps save a unit against single combats. I've had a few games where my opponents would try to single combat Renekton. I'd play Quicksand on whatever they're using a single combat. Renekton would kill it, or not even just not kill it, but at least deal some damage, maybe even level up the Renekton. It's great. Combined with Shapestone as well, you can get some nice kills if they try to do single combat. Just a lovely card as a 2 of. Also being, of course, being able to remove keywords like elusive and barrier is just nice as well. So, cool. Next up, Tubakai Sand Spinners. Basically copy 4 and 5 of Merciless Hunter, but it does shrink the enemy unit a little bit, which is sometimes meaningful. Still, though, it's whatever. Also, it helps that it's our other 4-drop besides Renekton, so in case we just don't have Renekton on 4 and we still really want to play a 4-drop, we have the Sand Spinner. Not much to talk about with this card. It's basically just Merciless Hunter. Now then, Renekton himself. Renekton is basically our core pillar of the deck. Renekton's probably going to be who you level up first. Renekton is going to be putting on a lot of pressure. Renekton is also our backup win con in case our opponent destroys our Sun Disc by just, beating our opponents down. Great card overall, great champ spell. Kind of wish he had 1 more health, but he'd be a little OP if he had 1 more health, so it's fine. Also, quick note, another reason I really like Renekton as a 3 of instead of just a 2 of, like I've seen some people do. He is kind of really sweet against the Zerarelia, if you think about it. If their blades are not buffed, and the blades are just 1/1s like normal, that will help level up Renekton really quickly. You're going to make your opponent have to think whether they want to blade dance for a little bit of damage, but also work towards Renekton level up progress, because Renekton has Overwhelm, remember. They can't do what they like to do a lot. The Zerarelia players can't do what they like to do a lot, which is block with a unit against some big unit and then recall their unit with either retreat or lead and follow or even homecoming, because the overwhelm damage will go through. Now, of course, homecoming's annoying, but what are you going to do about that? We have Rite of Negation, so there's that, I guess. So yeah, really big fan of Renekton. All 3 as well, because his champ spell, what's it called? I forgot the name of it. Ruthless Predator is really, really nice. Being able to get vulnerable to something's nice. And again, like I said numerous times, we have Ruin Runner, so buffing up Ruin Runner with the Relentless Predator or Ruthless Predator is really, really nice. 2 Rite of Negation, just a decent spell. You get nice blowouts here. It also protects you against certain cards like Vengeance and Ruination against the Trundle Lysandra decks. Also able to counter Homecoming, I guess, against a Zerarelia, which is nice. It's just an overall decent card. Only 2, though, because it is a little easy for this card to just be a blank in certain matchups. It's not that hard to draw them because we have Predict as well, so very nice card. Now then, last few cards. There's a couple here that I know some people are all probably questioning why they're in here. I have reasons. We'll get to those eventually. 3 Ruin Runners. Just a very good card. Helps us with our game plan of just putting on a lot of pressure really quickly. Good card to use if we don't have Renekton when we want to give something vulnerable. Use the Ruin Runner. Pushes in a lot of damage, especially if you use Shapestone on it. Just an overall great card. Spell Shield makes it extremely annoying. Just insanely great 5-drop tempo card for Shurima decks in general. Now then, the last 2 cards that are 1-ofs. Some people might be saying, I don't get these cards, streamer. I'll explain them. First off, Boomerang Blade. You might say, why is there a Boomerang Blade and why is it a 1-of? First off, about it being a 1-of. It's a bad card, so there's only 1 of it because it's kind of tough to cast because it's 7 mana and it's slow, so it's going to be hard to find a time to cast a spell. But the payoff for this card is huge. There are 2 premium targets for Boomerang Blade. Target number 1, Ruin Runner, purely because she has a lot of attack, and she has Spell Shield to protect herself from getting removed in response to the Boomerang Blade. Target number 2, Renekton, because Renekton plus Boomerang Blade, Renekton strikes twice. That's 8 damage, ignoring any buffs or any kind of debuffs. That's 2/3 of a Renekton level up. You might say, what about Siphoning Strike? Siphoning Strike's cheaper, and it buffs your champions if you are able to, kill the unit you're striking? Yeah, but this strikes 2 things. I just like Boomerang Blade a little bit better over a 1-of Siphoning Strike. You could probably take out the Boomerang Blade for like an Exhaust or something else, but I like the Boomerang Blade. It's been fun as a one-of, and sure, one-ofs in decks are bad, don't get me wrong, but we have 4 Predicts, 2 Scrying Sands, 2 Chronomancers, so sure, it's a one-of, but with 4 Predicts, it's not unlikely to see it. And Boomerang Blade has won me a couple of games, or at the very least, put me really far ahead in a couple of games. Next up, Clock Hand. The Clock Hand creates what? 2 Instant Sentries? The Instant Sentry is the only reason we're playing this card. Also, I guess the body is nice too. 4/7, very defensive body. But I have definitely found myself winning games purely because of the Clock Hand. Being able to just have a card that basically creates 2 0-mana focus speed spells that accelerates your Sun Disk by 8 turns is great. Pretty much by the time Clock Hand comes out and you use the 2 Instant Sentries, your Sun Disk should probably be restored because of that. And plus, if your opponent was greedy and didn't use their Scorched Earth or their Falling Comet or whatever early on, they might not be able to react in time because they were greedy, because this is focus speed, but that's very unlikely. Also, in case you're saying like, well, what if you don't need both? Remember, there is the backup, the secondary form of Instant Sentry. You can always use it to create a random countdown landmark. Sure, most of them are not that great, but sometimes you get something good like Preservarium or whatever, and that's pretty cool too. But yeah, I have definitely hit, I've definitely leveled up. I have definitely restored a Sun Disk. Thanks to Clock Hand. I would level up Renekton. My Sun Disk would be at around like 7 or 6 or so, and I would play both of the Instant Sentries, draw an Azir, play the Azir next turn, and then I would go from there with the Emperor's deck. Now then, as for matchups, as long as you're not going against Ezreal Draven, I'd say almost any matchup is winnable. I think Ezreal Draven is unwinnable. I do feel if you're going to play, if you think you're going to run into a lot of Ezreal Draven, though, you should probably consider teching in Soothsayers, but even then, it's not amazing. So yeah, I like it. As for life gain against like burn players, which are not uncommon, but not really common at all, there aren't that many ways to gain life in Mono Streamer. There's what, Ruinous Path, and I believe Devoted Council is the only other way to gain life in this region. There might be one that I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure those are the only 2 ways. I don't think Lucky Finds can give lifesteal, but they might be able to give lifesteal, but I can't remember. Anyway, though, I like the deck. It's very fun to play. That's the most important thing, too, is it's really fun. And I believe you could honestly get to Masters with this deck. Very strong-ish deck. I've been playing it a lot recently, and it's a really fun deck. So, with that all said and done, let's get into a couple of games. Why not? Okay, looks like we got a pretty off-meta deck here that's still, I don't want to say viable, but it's still relevant. I want to find, I really want to find a way to get Vulnerable and a Renekton early. These are not the cards I wanted. I really wanted to find a way to kill Lissandra on 3. These are kind of mediocre. Yeah, these are not the cards I needed, deck. But yeah, Swain Lissandra. Swain Lissandra is probably one of the few decks that can actually play Swain and not feel bad. And that's kind of saying something, because Swain's kind of bad right now. I think I'm going to open attack here for 2. Just get that nice 2 damage in, depending on what I draw. I feel like they're going to Culling Strike me if I play Azir, so I'm just going to attack in. I will play Bakai Reaper, though. I feel like they're just going to play Lissandra here, though. Okay, that's good. That lets me play Doomkeeper now. It's good. It's good for me. Unless my opponent also has Death Lotus. But yeah, I don't want to play this Azir because I'm afraid of Culling Strike. So I don't really want to play Azir unless I'm either out of cards in my hand or it's leveled up. I really need that Renekton. That's still a good draw, though. Alright, so this is nice. Excuse me? That's not something I was expecting at all, but I see they're not even attacking. Wow. I see their reasoning. It has regeneration, so it blocks well against Azir Aurelia, but you gotta behold an 8-mana card. The only 8-mana card this deck should play is Leviathan, right? Right? I'm not crazy here. You gonna troll chant or something here? No, they're just taking it. Wow. Maybe they didn't play any, like, play a swing because they're afraid I have exhaust or something. Ah, okay. I'm fine with this. Yeah, this is fine. Another Azir. I kind of really want to play an Azir now. Yeah, I'm just going to play another Ruin Runner. Well, that's annoying. I'm going to save this. I want to save this. This double Ruin Runner pushing in a lot of damage is actually kind of sweet. Are you playing, like, Feel the Rush opponent? Give me a good card. That's a pretty good card. I'm going to summon this Azir. I need the Sand Soldier, I think, if I'm going to try and level up or try and flip the Sun Disc. Because now I can, if I get to attack in and summon a Sand Soldier, I can play Clock Hand. And that will level up Azir. I can also just double a Rise. Yeah, this is fine.
Out of the way.
I think I'll even play one Arise now, in fact. Honestly, I think I'll double Arise. Because I still have the 1 mana for Shapestone. I like this play, in fact. And it levels up my Azir. So I can now attack in with the Azir as well. Yeah, this is a great plan. There's a lot of ways it can go wrong, but it's fine. Really, I just wanted to get the Azir level up now. But yeah, this pushes in a lot of damage, which is good. It's a little bad against, like, Death Lotus or Ice Shards, but whatever. Double Ice Shards, maybe? Calling Strike? Ice Shards. Calling Strike, Ice Shards. I could save the Azir. So this is 3, 6 damage going in right there, and I can push in another 6? Yeah, I'll do this. I think this is good. Again, just put on a lot of pressure. My opponent's probably like, okay, this seems bad because their Azir stayed alive, but the Sun Disc is still far from leveling. But I have Clock Hand. And Clock Hand will draw my Renekton's. Well, Clock Hand will give me a level up. Sun Disc renewal. Well, that's annoying, but I can chump it, kind of. And I will chump this. So, let's start with random landmark. Whatever. Oh, and GG, they didn't even want to play against the Sun Disc. So that's how the deck works. Let's do another game. That was fun.
Look upon our work. Look what we have built.
Okay, discard aggro. Now, this deck against discard aggro. I actually didn't think about discard aggro too much when I was building this deck, but I think it's actually a little unfavored for us. Because Quicksand is not Hush for the crowd favorite. I don't like any of this. I need to get some early game here against discard aggro. Renekton plus vulnerables would be nice. This is nice. This is good enough. Am I on the... I am on odd attack too, so that's good. That, not so much. So though, we got what we were looking for. We got the Dunekeeper Bakai Reaper. That's good. That's really good that their one drop's not like a Draven's biggest fan. I need Renekton. Shapestoned.
Forgetting is death to an immortal.
Alright, this is fine. This is fine, I guess. Really need that Renekton.
Arda's gonna make a meal of them.
If they play a Draven here, though, I think I 2-for-1 myself. No, I don't have to 2-for-1 myself. You know, let's just get rid of this now. If they want to trade their Draven for my Merciless Hunter, I'm more than fine with that. Oh, come on, Vision.
Now we're cooking.
That's fine. I could save... No, I can't save it. Whatever, that's annoying, but it's fine. I need something. I need something good here. That's... fine.
Watch and learn.
Yeah, I gotta take it. Yeah, I don't think this is a good matchup. Especially without the Renekton. If we had like a Renekton and another vulnerable for Draven, maybe.
The sun's out, the crowd's ready.
But yeah, we're not going to have enough time for the Sun Disc to actually flip.
Get 'em up!
And without Renekton, I don't think we can push in enough damage. That's a decent draw, though.
Out here, you're moving or you're
Alright,
dead.
so we can get in a lot of damage now.
Oh, it is a great
That's
day for a reckoning.
kind of really annoying, but let's just push in as much damage as we can. They took it all. Oh my god. That's actually terrifying. I'm kind of afraid they have a Jinx soon. Oh yeah, we might just be dead. Double Battlecaster, terrifying. Okay, Renekton's not a bad draw. So if I can survive this turn, I think I have a chance. If I just have to survive this turn.
Close look at the action.
So I can jump like this and block like this, and I take 7? Yeah, I think this is good. Nice, they don't even have a Whirling Death, too. I was expecting maybe a Whirling Death or another Vision. Okay, do you have a way to stop this? 2 Overwhelm units. That's... I kind of want to counter that. Yeah, I kind of want to counter that. I think I'm going to counter that. Because they can't do much with 3 mana. They can't kill my Renekton or get through the Ruin Runner's spell shield with only 3 mana. Yeah, good game.
The slaughter will never end.
Okay, welcome back to the deck. Welcome to my closing thoughts on the deck, too, as well, I guess. But yeah, I feel like those 2 games were very good games to demonstrate the 2 avenues of attack the 2 game plans, I guess, we take with this deck. Game 1, while we didn't actually see the Emperor's deck because our opponent surrendered before we actually were able to summon it, Game 1 showed us the more control-y side of the deck, buying time, and then playing Clock Hand to accelerate out Emperor's deck really quickly. Game 2 showed the other side of the deck, the other side or a gauntlet where you can ban certain decks, basically decks with landmark destruction, because again, it's a landmark deck, sort of a landmark deck. In other words, it's a deck that's kind of built around a landmark, something like similar to Star Springs or something, and it kind of just folds if your opponent has landmark removal. So things like Scorched Earth or the 4-mana 2/4 in Shurima. What's it called? I want to remember. Desert Naturalist. If your opponent plays like a Desert Naturalist, you kind of lose. And people are playing more and more Desert Naturalists nowadays because Turbo Thralls is getting a little popular, so Desert Naturalist is not crazy to see, but it's still a little rare. Anyway, though, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you liked the video. I really like this deck, too. I'm going to be playing it some more on my stream, so go and check that out. But yeah, if there's anything that you think could fit into the deck, any kind of inclusions or things that you think should not be in the deck or something, I'd love to hear your opinions on the deck. I like the list so far, but you can, of course, take it in a different direction, make it more control-y, more aggressive, add more spells, maybe add Zillions, add Nasus, whatever. I like the current list I'm at right now, though, but I'd love to hear your takes on the deck, because Sundisk is one of my favorite archetypes in the game right now. Even though it's pretty much just a meme, it's getting a little better and better with every few cards and every few expansions. So with that all said and done, thank you all again once more for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like or a comment down below. And if you guys want to keep up with the Runeterra content, you can always subscribe to the channel. And if you want to watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, you can always go and check me out over on Twitch TV at my Twitch account, which is twitch.tv/Zenaton. I play Runeterra pretty much every single day. I've been playing some Sundisk a lot recently, especially if you want to watch me play some more Sundisk and you want to watch me play some more games of this deck, go check me out. Anyway, though, that's enough rambling now. As I said, though, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and until I see you guys in the next one, bye.